Kentucky, a city with a great sports heritage, a passion for the ponies. The Breeders' Cup World Championship Saturday for hoops, which are underway. But tonight it's all pigskin. They could have sold out 3 stadia the size of Papa John's for a collision of top 5 unbeatens. Louisville and West Virginia, conference rivals in the Big East. And yes, the joint is jumping. It's a rematch of an instant classic last year. It began as a nightmare for West Virginia. Mugged in Morgantown, down 17 in the final quarter. But the Nears never gave up, never gave in. Suddenly, they were sparked by a replacement quarterback, Pat White, a first-time starting tailback, Steve Slaton, a furious rally, a frenzied crowd. West Virginia forced overtime. Touchdowns were traded until one final goal line stop earned the Mountaineers their most dramatic comeback ever. For the Cardinals, disbelief, deep pain. They have waited a year for a chance to finish off the Mountaineers right here in their home stadium. Tickets almost impossible to come by. Folks spending more than $1,000 to see the biggest college football game in the history of this city. Number 3, number 5. Undefeated rivals in the Big East Conference, which is home to 3 of the 6 unbeatens. Rutgers is in first place technically. The Scarlet Knights await both these teams down the line, but tonight it is Louisville and West Virginia. And everything to play for in this college football game tonight. Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit, we're glad you've joined us for what really has been the fulfillment of a dream scenario. Both these teams arriving undefeated here.
You know, it was one of those games that you looked at in August and knew we had the possibility of having 2 unbeatens. The players and coaches have lived it. That reality is now here. The winner of this game survives and advances and moves on. It's electric in this place.
Now, the Mountaineers have won 14 in a row, second only to Ohio State, but they haven't really played a tough road game. They played no teams with a winning record on the road, and none of those players and none of the coaches there have ever been in a game with the national title on the line.
Well, I think the key for Rich Rodriguez tonight and for his team is demonstrating outstanding poise and character, especially early, Chris. I think we're going to see an initial surge of momentum early in this game that'll favor Louisville. West Virginia has to be careful not to lose the game early in the game because of that crowd and because of the momentum. I think Rich Rodriguez is telling his guys, let's survive early, and then let's just relax and go out and execute our game plan.
Yeah, for the survivor, they're right there in the conversation of the final month with the Buckeyes and the Wolverines and the Gators and the Tigers. For the loser, well, most of their goals go away. For Louisville, they've won 15 in a row at home, second only to USC. They've asked the crowd to dress in all black. They've responded. It's a great atmosphere.
Well, I think the game plan for what Bobby Petrino and his group want to do is embrace the atmosphere. Obviously, that's the big advantage playing here. I think it's the equalizer for Louisville. I think you'll see their defense play at a level that they have not played with all year because of the energy that they'll receive from the crowd. And really, I think the challenge is to try to maintain that energy and try to feed from that crowd and momentum the entire game. If they can keep the crowd in the game, they can upset West Virginia.
So the Mountaineers to kick off to Louisville, a team that is known in this streak, Kirk, for fast starts on offense, but not in the last few weeks. They haven't been nearly as sharp executing offensively at the beginning of games. So we'll see what Brohm and company can do in this opening possession. Everybody on their feet and bundled up in Louisville. And the deep kickoff from Pat McAfee. No return. So Louisville will get the football at the 20-yard line. We'll keep an eye on their playmaking wide receivers. Mario Urrutia, 6'6". He's got matchup advantages over those West Virginia corners. Harry Douglas is speedy as well. They use the tight end Barnage as well.
Well, the balance tonight will be very important for Brian Brohm. He's got to get Colby Smith on track. Again, West Virginia has the 3-3-5 scheme, which it turns out to be an 8-man front. They put a lot of people at the line of scrimmage. So Brohm in the passing game could eventually open up the running game for Colby Smith, but balance is central for the Cards.
Smith, the senior, is the lone setback behind Brohm. We go play action on first down. Over the middle, complete, across the 40-yard line. And there is number 85, Harry Douglas, the junior. He's their steady wide receiver. Leads the team, 22 yards.
Chris, Brian Brohm told us yesterday that the linebackers like to get up into the line of scrimmage off play action. There are a lot of great seams right behind the linebackers vertically with it. Tonight, you're going to see Brohm with a little bit more zip on his ball with the thumb feeling better. You'll see them attack those seams down into that West Virginia defense.
They believe that if Brohm can be accurate, they can create a lot of plays just like that. After 22 yards on the first play, the Mountaineers show pressure. It's Smith. Finds a crease to the right, slams straight ahead into the DB and carries him forward. That Mountaineer defense. Kirk talked about the unorthodox 3-3-5 kind of oddball front. They do have 5 defensive backs, and keep an eye on number 8, Quinton Andrews. He's a redshirt freshman. He's very aggressive, a tough player, but he's got to be disciplined tonight.
He has to be disciplined, and being a freshman in this kind of game with so much on the line, Bobby Petrino is an offensive genius. You have to think sooner or later he will test the freshman vertically with the passing game downfield to see how he responds.
Shotgun on 2nd and 5. Brohm over the middle, complete. It's caught by Mario Urrutia. The tall, lanky receiver, first down yardage at the 42 of West Virginia. Again, those pockets they talked about.
Pockets in a zone. This is a defense that, again, likes to crowd the line of scrimmage. They're going to always keep their secondary deep to prevent the big play. What that does is it opens up opportunities underneath. It teaches a quarterback you have to be patient to find not only seams, Chris, vertically, but also in between the linebackers. And, again, Brian Brohm, as we expected, feeling very, very good. And Urrutia has a great advantage with his size against these West Virginia corners.
And it'll make the Cardinal fans feel a lot better, those first 2 throws by Brohm right on target. Play clock at 5 as Brohm changes the play. Mountaineers bring pressure. They pick it up well, and he flips over the middle again. It's complete. This is Patrick Carter, the junior. So 3 completions, 3 different receivers. Bobby Hathaway, the strong side linebacker, on the stop. 12 more yards. Kirk 46 yards now in those first 3 completions.
Brian Brohm looks very, very comfortable, and they're doing a nice job protecting him. But you're going to, again, see how West Virginia, their safeties and corners are getting back. This time the linebackers feeling the pressure, trying to get back to avoid those seams down the middle. They're leaving a vacated zone underneath it, and the read by Brian Brohm, perfect in the throw as well.
This is Anthony Allen now, the true freshman, in a tailback for the first time. And the big guy from Florida gets the carry, gets good yardage. Close to the first down marker inside the 20. 230 pounds at a Tampa Jesuit.
We have seen 5 offensive plays, and we've seen a different formation and a different play every single time. That's what makes this offense so tough, and the way they can mix in different backs. Anthony Allen, 6'2", 230 pounds. Colby Smith at 5'11", 220. Brian Brohm with the plethora of receivers to throw to. It's a difficult scheme to prepare for because it's so versatile.
On 2nd and 1, Harry Douglas comes in motion. And they give it up to the freshman, who turns the corner and muscles forward. It's a major question mark, the run-stopping ability of this West Virginia defense against a physical running attack. They're not big.
Right now, they're having their way with them up front. And again, Chris, I got to go back, and I know Rich Rodriguez is seeing this and probably a little concerned about this, but Bobby Petrino has done a very good job here early, mixing up things, not only as far as the balance with his run to throw, but also mixing up things with his formations. This West Virginia defense in his first drive, they don't know what's coming next. 6 plays, 3 runs, and 3 passes.
Brohm, this time pressured and dropped. John Holmes, the Spurs safety, found a crease. He came around the tight end and got to Brohm. First real positive play for that West Virginia defense.
Yeah, John Holmes has great speed, great acceleration, and he just goes right by Kuhn, the tight end. Really a poor effort by Kuhn to get outside, and you cannot afford to do that when you have an outside linebacker with the speed and athletic ability of John Holmes.
Red zone troubles. They got barely into the red zone there. That's been a problem in the last couple of games for Louisville. 3 points instead of 7. That's why the Cincinnati game was close.
Cincinnati game was close. They had to score late against Syracuse. They've been frustrated with the inability to finish drives off and rely on Carmody to come up with 3 points.
11 of 12 for the left-footed kicker on the season, and he just sneaks that one in. So Louisville uses a little bit more than 4 minutes on its opening drive, puts 3 points on the board, and when you come back, the first possession with that powerful West Virginia offense of White and Slaton. Attractive riverfront location for downtown Louisville. Just a short ride away. 4th Avenue sits Papa John Stadium, this nice new facility, which will be further expanded. You'll see on the left side of your screen an upper deck right across from us. Very excited about this. The Mountaineers have trailed since the game against Louisville a year ago, only a minute 47 when Syracuse took a quick 7-0 lead. They find themselves behind before they have the football now. Something
to keep in mind, we talked about in the open, is Rich Rodriguez saying it's very important to survive the initial surge of this game. What he meant was not just his defense, mainly his offense. When Pat White and company get on the field, you don't want to make a crazy mistake with all that momentum and how crazy this Louisville defense is going to come out of the gate early in this game.
Todd Flannery, who's lost his punting job, will kick off, and he kicks it short. The ball is still being fumbled by the up man, who finally is able to fall on it at the 25-yard line.
I just talked about it. You don't want to lose the game in the first 5 minutes of the game, making silly mistakes.
Composure. That would have been silly. Brad Palmer, backup tight end there, had his hands on it, but I think he felt the rush coming down very quickly. We'll keep an eye on Darius Raynaud. He's been the playmaker, but Brandon Miles, the receiver, not very productive. They want the senior to break out tonight.
If Louisville puts a lot of pressure up front, it's going to be up to Raynaud and Miles to try to beat some one-on-one matchups on the outside.
First snap, the leading rushing offense in the country. Pat White gives it to Slaton. Slaton able to turn the corner. You can see how quickly he can gain 6 yards.
Mike Cassidy telling me last night that he's going to unveil a defense. These are defensive tackles that are typically on the inside. They've moved them out. They've walked their linebackers up tight. The safeties are going to be up tight. They have 9 defensive players up at the line of scrimmage to stop Steve Slaton and Pat White. It's a defense that he hasn't coached since the 2001 season against Antoine Randall.
See if it works. White has the ball. He's chased down short of the first down marker. It'll be 3rd and very short as this Louisville defense rises up there. Earl Heyman, a nice stop for the Cardinals. Pressure on the linebackers. Malik Jackson and Lamar Miles, guys who've come on as starters in the last few games and really given a playmaking spark.
Well, Smith, Miles, and Jackson, the entire group of linebackers, I think they're the best in the Big East and one of the best groups in the country. It's really on them tonight if they're going to stop this West Virginia running game.
White over the middle. It's caught. Darius Raynaud just grabbed by the shoe at the last minute by Nate Harris, the linebacker. That's the kind of mismatch they look for, and they were this close to a touchdown. Instead, 26 yards.
Well, this is what everybody in America wants to see. Can Pat White throw the football? One-on-one coverage. They bring the linebacker on the outside. Linebacker staying with Darius Raynaud could not stay with him, and the speed that he has is amazing, but I like to see Pat White step in there and make a throw to his receiver.
This time, handoff right at the middle. Steve Slaton headed for the end zone. Touchdown. You don't beat him in a foot race. 42 yards, and the Mountaineers take the lead. Boy, they had him hemmed in. It was 3rd and 9. This place was rocking. Suddenly, White to Raynaud for the first down, and one play later, they're in the end zone.
Boy, it's amazing how quickly things can change. Louisville playing so well, and one completion that almost went to the house sets up a Steve Slaton touchdown run. That pass by Pat White set up the run by Steve Slaton.
McAfee. Pat McAfee, still perfect, 38 for 38 PATs, an 80-yard drive, 7 plays, 3 minutes and 11 seconds, and Steve Slaton takes it 42 yards in a hurry as the Mountaineers recover their own fumble on that drive and take the lead. It's rare when a basketball game in Louisville is a tune-up for a football game, but The Cardinals hoopsters did debut last night, an exhibition game against Georgetown College, not the Hoyas. Right now, the Cardinal football team in a 7-3 hole as West Virginia strikes very quickly. Rick Pitino joining us in the booth. We'll visit with him in just a second. This is very much a basketball and a football school right now. Mountaineers have some basketball heritage as well. Jerry West, of course.
You know, I was going to say that play felt like a fast break.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so, they hit a pass. The next thing you know, before you could get settled in, Steve Slaton out of the gate with a big touchdown run.
So we'll see if the Cardinals can answer. We expected a few fireworks and a few momentum shifts. This is Jawan Spillman, the freshman, breaking free up near the 35-yard line.
Very, very big drive, obviously, for Bobby Petrino, even though it's early in this game, just to be able to come back after their worst nightmare. Steve Slaton slipping through for a big touchdown. It's nice to see Louisville for them to be able to come back.
Delayed handout to Smith, who bolts up the middle, runs over a Mountaineer, and still fights forward down near the 10. Colby Smith, whose career's winding down. He's only got about 5 games to go plus a bowl. Comes off the game of his life against Syracuse and a 20-yard gain there.
Well, I think this is what Colby Smith brings to the table, is he's a complete package. And Antonio Lewis, we just got done bragging about how willing he is to come up and make a tackle as a corner. You know, the unfortunate thing is at 5'10", 180 pounds, sometimes you get run over when you come up to make a play.
Syracuse.
You know, it was interesting when he first stepped in for Michael Bush. It seemed to be a pretty natural fit. He's an experienced back. He's been around the last couple years, had a chance to play. But you're right. I think he started to press and started to force the issue instead of letting the game come to him. And then last week against Syracuse, he finally got back into his comfort zone, and we're seeing it again tonight.
Yeah, he had 165 yards in the last 34 minutes of that game against Syracuse. But it's West Virginia's dynamic duo that's found the end zone here. End of the first quarter in Louisville. Cardinals on the march, but the visiting Mountaineers with the lead. When you come back. Talked about the Louisville Slugger plant on West Main, right downtown. Look at that.
Oh,
customized
nice.
bed for us.
Where'd that baby end up? Down in the truck.
It's in somebody's trunk, I think. Chilly night here. Temperatures will be down in the 20s before this one is finished. Unseasonably cold. Folks bundled up, dressed in all black. Call for the blackout in the biggest Cardinals home game ever. This might be a 4-quarter and then some fist fight like last year's triple overtime matchup in Morgantown.
Look for the matchup down at the bottom of the screen. Taller receiver Urrutia against an undersized corner for West Virginia.
Brohm on the first play of the second quarter. Well covered, those receivers, and finally goes forward as Warren Young stops him for a loss.
Surprising to see Urrutia coming underneath. They actually sent the smaller, quicker receiver Harry Douglas to the corner, trying to get him in a isolated one-on-one matchup. They had it, but it's just great coverage by West Virginia, forcing Brohm to come off of him, tuck the ball, and try to pick up as many yards as they can. But again, it's this offense trying to put touchdowns on the board. You can see the height advantage that Louisville has with their receivers. This time Urrutia at the top of the screen.
Well, it's the height advantage is all Urrutia. 6'6" factored into that advantage. And now with 5 wide receivers, Brohm fires over the middle. It's complete. Very short gain. Corey Thompson, the sophomore, only his second catch of the season, got back inside the 10. But it's not enough.
Great job by West Virginia. Jeff Castile realizing that if there's any area that they want to try to attack them, it's trying to get to the ball to the tall receiver. That's who he's looking to go to, but he's got 3 white jerseys all over him, forcing Brohm to come underneath, and again, forcing a field goal for Louisville. Great defense there by West Virginia.
And once again, a red zone breakdown for the Cardinals. Carmody, and only missed 1 all season long. He is 2 for 2 tonight, but not the ideal result for this Louisville offense. And West Virginia, White, Slaton, and company will get the football back up 7-6. Well, Louisville's had the ball for almost 11.5 minutes so far in this first half. A statistical edge in every category. All 3 possessions they've been in West Virginia territory, Kirk, but 1 punt and 2 field goals. It's the Mountaineers with the lead.
Well, one of the better ways to slow down Steve Slaton and Pat White, keep them on the sideline. As you said, big advantage, time of possession. Done a nice job controlling the clock with the balanced offense. But we saw Steve Slaton get out. We saw Pat White throw the football in their last possession. We'll see how this Louisville defense tries to retaliate against that balanced look from the Mountaineers that last drive.
Big storyline tonight, not just who wins this game, but how impressive is the winner to the folks watching around the country. It's taken by Vaughn Rivers. And the Mountaineers should, coming into this game, have a pretty clear edge in special teams. Louisville gets nothing out of the return game. Not much on that return from Rivers. White bobbles it and is swarmed under for a loss. Willie Williams, the junior, came in, and White disrupting the timing of the play by bobbling the snap.
The bad snap, but bobbling the snap didn't help, but that was a draw coming to the left right towards us. That's why he didn't have any time. I know bobbling the snap is bad, but all the linemen had waited for a beat before they took off out to get in front of Steve Slaton. So there was nobody there to stop the defensive lineman from coming down on Pat White.
Can White conjure something on another big third down? 3rd and 12. Fires near side on a rope, incomplete. Good job. Pass intended for Miles, but Gay got there just to bat it away.
Really a close call here on 3rd down. It's nice to see William Gay starting to play the way you expect him to play as a senior. He's one of the better cover corners in the Big East. He came around that time, Miles, and got his arm on the football to knock it away. And that's a tough play when you have so much speed coming back to the receiver. It's easy to get your body in the way, but William Gay that time made a nice play for the Cards to force the punt.
It is the first punt for Scott Kozlowski, the freshman. And they'll try to pooch it down in there, a whistle before they snap. Looks to be against the Mountaineers. It'll give Kozlowski a little more room to work with, trying to knock it down there. He was headed to his right, that rolling punt that's become so popular.
See it everywhere.
Ball start on the offense. Number 49, 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
How much did that dead ball personal foul hurt this West Virginia team by Dana? Big play by Pat White, ball deep in the Louisville territory, comes all the way back to midfield and stops the momentum that Rich Rodriguez had thought he created.
Yeah, just the senseless kind of penalty. Yeah. After the play's over, just, you know, a little too much testosterone, and it kills a drive. Louisville has done almost nothing in the punt return all year long. Kozlowski hits a line drive. It's dangerous down there. Ball can bounce off a man. There's a scrum for to the 25. Did it hit a Louisville player? Well, it's Louisville football. They have signaled Louisville football. It was Trent Guy, the freshman return man over there for the Cardinals. Now the Mountaineers say they've got it. It was signaled already once by the officials, Louisville football, and that's what it'll be as the Cardinals avert disaster there. That rolling punt is dangerous because sometimes the guys in the return team can't see it very well.
They can't see it, and you know, this is one of the things that guys got to be saying, you know, get out of the way, and I really think the ball hits Smart coming back there, and it is a scrum there to try to pick up the football.
Cardinals dodge disaster there. They'll get the football down by a point.
Well, a chilly night here in Louisville as the Mountaineers lead the Cardinals 7-6. Brian Brohm leading the troops back on. And remember, Brian Brohm just 3 games into his season since having surgery on that right thumb. And he was telling Chris Kirk and myself, feeling as close to 100% as it can, not having a problem gripping the ball, but you see his hands in that pouch right there. His biggest concern tonight, guys, was the cold weather. Of course, wind chill in the 20s tonight, and he was saying it kind of tightens up a bit. He's been on the sidelines and observing him, keeping his hand very close to the heater, Chris.
So are we. 1st and 10 in the second quarter. Brohm in the shotgun. Rolls to his right. Goes deep downfield, has a man wide open, and it's Harry Douglas who just stumbles in the open field at the 35 of the Mountaineers. Douglas got wide open over the middle. Gains 40 yards, but it could have been more. Guys are just stumbling on this field for no reason tonight.
Well, they said they wanted to attack Quentin Andrews. He's right here, the freshman. This is a great play. Great call by Bobby Petrino. Roll everything to the right. And right here, you have Harry Douglas faking to the outside and going to the middle of the field with all the momentum of the play going to the defense's left. Harry Douglas fakes to the outside, comes back to the middle, and they go after the freshman, who's going to be a great player, but he's still a freshman, and that time they were able to attack him downfield.
So 4 possessions, 4 times in Mountaineer territory for the Cardinals. It's complete. Far side, first down at the 16-yard line. It's Mario Urrutia beating Antonio Lewis. And Brohm right on target.
Finally able to get Urrutia involved in getting the ball to him downfield, and they actually had pretty good coverage. But one thing that Brohm will do when he's healthy is put the ball on the money, and he actually puts it away from Antonio Lewis. Typically on an out cut, Chris, he wanted to throw it towards the sideline. The defender was towards the boundary. That was a good throw.
Anthony Allen somersaults a defender inside the 10-yard line. A battle for the football down there. See Allen, 230 pounds. Why they consider him the back of the future here. Good agility.
They really feel that he fits the mold of what they like to have as a back. You go back to Eric Shelton, Michael Bush, even Colby Smith runs pretty. He's a powerful runner for his size, and Anthony Allen is as a freshman, very intelligent, great hands, 6'2", 230 pounds.
Deontay Taylor, the fullback, leading the big guy, headed for the corner. Touchdown, Cardinals. So Louisville answers, a nice looking drive, and the freshman Anthony Allen finds the end zone. Capping the 75-yard, 6-play drive. Carmody knocks it through. And Breno Giacomino, Kirk, he's a tackle. They moved the tight end, instrumental in that play.
Yeah, he had a great block. There are 2 really good blocks here. This offensive line tight end right here, the tackle, both of them able to spring it loose. Watch the blocks and watch, I think, how Allen's able to get free. Look at the seam there. Outstanding.
When the smoke clears here, Louisville will put West Virginia behind for the 2nd time tonight. Again, the Mountaineers coming into this game trailing only 1:47 all season long. Face a deficit again. Inside the 5. Reynard trying to slip free, but he stopped at the 20. Good special teams tackle there. Cardinals bring pressure up the middle. White has to deliver quickly. It's complete to Reynard. Reynard finds a seam. Darius Reynard to midfield. Finally run out of bounds at the 40. That's what this offense does. Looks for mismatches and then uses speed. Reynard got a nice block by Rayshon Bolden, and he didn't need much.
One of the things that Pat White does after the snap is make a lot of decisions. This is all done by Pat White. What a cushion. This is a play that the offensive linemen think is a run. He comes off the run on his own, throws to the bubble to Reynard, and this is what Reynard does. He is a tailback that plays receiver. They want to get him the ball in space. They did it perfectly, but give Pat White all the credit for his decision to get the ball thrown to the outside to his receiver.
Keep an eye on the slot. Bottom of your screen, that's Nate Sowers, a backup quarterback they bring in the game, maybe as a diversion, and they hand the ball to big Owen Schmidt. 250-pound fullback barrels up the middle. So they showed something to Louisville, but didn't use the backup quarterback in the slot there.
No, that is triple option there with Schmidt, but this is nice distribution, getting the ball to the outside, a little shake there, little Allen Iverson-like move there with the crossover and with a little shake from the shoulders, and those safeties, when you get the ball in space against these West Virginia running backs and receivers, it's tough to defend.
Slaton finds the seam, spins for a first down. Still fighting for yardage and inside the 20. He's special. And a sophomore has never won the Heisman, and he's probably not going to win it this year, but many people believe that Slaton, if he has a showcase game tonight, should be a finalist and maybe the favorite next year.
Well, I think that there's one thing that we know is with Adrian Peterson down, it becomes a great debate about who's the best back in the country. I've been saying for the last few weeks that it's this guy, number 10, Steve Slaton. What unbelievable quickness, the lateral movement off the jump cut. You have got to be able to contain him because in space, he's impossible to contain, to be able to stop.
You see Brandon Sharp, the safety, a look of frustration. And now it's White showing his quickness. Sharp unable to corral Slaton on that run, just shaking his head on the ground as Slaton mowed it away.
The spread offense gets a reputation for being a finesse offense, but the one thing that Rich Rodriguez emphasizes is they are a physical offense, and when Owen Schmidt gets into the game, that's what they become. He's just going to lead. That's an isolation play for an I formation team.
White knifing down near the goal line. Got down to the 1 yard line. Just that quick burst.
I apologize there, Chris. They got the regular speed that they have on this offense, the Indy and the Jet. Right now, they're in the Jet.
They've turned up the tempo. White leading to the end zone. Touchdown. That quickly, West Virginia has tied this game.
Well, that's how you answer.
Yeah.
6 plays, 81 yards. Rich Rodriguez electing to go with, again, his Jet series. Get to the line and get after it. Put points on the board.
Petrino. Shot. Mike Cassidy is defensive coordinator. They got some things to button up there. And McAfee with the PAT. And as West Virginia regains the lead. It only took them 2:22. 81 yards in 6 plays. As the Jet tempo in the shadow of the Louisville airport puts the Mountaineers back on top. We got a good one in Louisville. Number 3 versus number 5 with a lot on the line. Churchill Downs, just a couple of blocks west of Papa John's Stadium. Monstrous week in the world of thoroughbred racing with the Breeders' Cup World Championships. $20 million in purses. 8 World Championship fields here in the Ville. Tonight it's football, and this is football weather for the blackout crowd. Papa John's. And Goldberg has joined us in the booth. Of course, he's in town, part of our Breeders' Cup coverage, but Hank also living in Miami has watched Big East football for years. Juwan Spillman takes it at the goal line for Louisville. And that return game continues to generate not very much. Hank, when Miami and Virginia Tech, who play down in the Orange Bowl this weekend, when they left this conference, what did you think? What did the folks in Miami think would happen to the Big East?
They thought it was going to fall apart. Obviously, they were wrong. And this game is certainly proof of that because it's very competitive. It's terrific football. We used to have games like this in Miami, I remember.
Well, they'll come back. They'll come back.
I know, you're really for Miami.
Yeah, well, they'll come back eventually. I want to know, football tonight, horses on Saturday. What are you more excited for?
Well,
don't ask him that.
Wait a second. I'm excited about this, but Saturday is
That's
like
big.
8 bowl games all in one day.
Yeah.
Brohm steps up,
playing for
avoids
money.
the corner blitz, throws downfield. It's caught by Arudia. At 6'6", he beat 5'10" Antonio Lewis on the jump ball. Big gain down to the 40 of the Mountaineers. Back and forth we go.
Ball is underthrown, and it's a good job of adjusting, but with the size of Urrutia, anytime you put it up in the air, you want to miss short and give him a chance to adjust by seeing the ball, and there it is. Lewis at 5'10" cannot match up with Urrutia at 6'6", not to mention he has a basketball background, Chris. He's very comfortable going up and making a catch up high in the air.
36 yards. He was number 2 in the country on yards per catch coming in at more than 19. Now they flip it up to Smith. He gets a couple of blocks and spins down near the 30.
I feel bad for these defenses right now.
Both are off balance.
Oh, my gosh.
Saw Boo McLee on the pressure of Brohm. It was incomplete on first down. Again, pressure. Brohm steps up, delivers. Nice throw. It's caught. Douglas bumped out of bounds inside the 15. Nice little hands catch by the junior wide receiver from Jonesboro, Georgia.
Harry Douglas is your typical traditional Louisville wide receiver that we've seen come out of here over the last 4 or 5 years. Little move to the inside. He has the matchup. That's a tough call for Boo McLean as a linebacker to stay with the quick, shifty wide receiver in Harry Douglas. It's a matchup that Brian Brohm will take every time. Great recognition by number 12 to get the ball to him.
Now they hand it off to Anthony Allen. Already 1 touchdown tonight, and the freshman muscles forward near the first down line at the 3. You feel bad for both defenses, huh?
I'm starting to feel bad for them. They don't know if it's going to be a run or if it's going to be a throw. Both teams are showing not only, Chris, that they can score, but they can score in a hurry.
3 receivers. Urrutia comes in motion now. Brohm will keep it up the middle, trying to pick his way. Doesn't get to the goal line. It was a Brian Brohm run on the mandatory 2-point conversion in triple overtime a year ago. Stopped short just like that. That led to West Virginia's victory, Kirk. They tried to run him again.
Louisville averages 39 points a game, so let's not be too critical of what they're doing this year. They're 5th in the nation in points scored. But it's amazing to see them 3 tries inside the 5-yard line. Twice they went to the 3 tight end look, tried to overpower West Virginia. That didn't work. That time they had to go to a 3 wide receiver look that just spread the West Virginia defense out. Tried to go with a trick play, and keeping of all people Brian Brohm with the ball in his hands to try to run. And 3 tries, and 3 times they weren't able to get the ball in the end zone.
Well, on 4th down and 1, they can field goal. They do try to accommodate. I'm sorry, I didn't see the kicker come out until he trots out late. So what a stand by West Virginia once again. The same thing that created a close game against Cincinnati. Louisville unable to convert in the red zone, and a tough angle for the lefty here. 18 yards, and he just sneaks it through.
For a guy that likes to score points, that was a tough one to give up on and have to settle for points.
You see Brahm's reaction.
Brohm and Bobby Petrino, you know they wanted a touchdown.
Kirk, they have 279 yards in this first half. They haven't been stopped at all, except by red zone execution. As Louisville will go to the locker room believing they should have a bigger lead than just 2 points. Mountaineers will get the ball to begin the second half.
There are a lot of teams who would like to have 279 yards of offense through a whole game, as Louisville has here in the first half, but only 16 points after the field goals they had to settle for.
Aaron is with Rich Rodriguez. Aaron?
Well, Coach, you got to tell us, what was the key in stopping Louisville there at their goal line?
Well, we're doing a good job in the red zone. We're giving up a couple too-minute big plays. Defensively, we got to bunker down on that a little bit. And then offensively, we got to execute a little bit better. We have a good beat on what they're doing. Our guys are playing hard, but we certainly got to execute better in the second half.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
All right, there'll be some bunkering down in the second half, but also plenty more big plays here at Papa John's on a chilly night. Hometown Cardinals lead by a deuce to Reese Davis for halftime. So an exciting first half, 30 minutes to go. Everything on the line for these Big East unbeatens. Louisville moving the ball all over the field, but having to settle for 3 field goals. It's West Virginia, Kirk, a pair of long touchdown drives, 80 and 81 yards, but on the road here tonight, only 27 plays run for West Virginia. They average almost 9 yards a play, but they're not getting the football much.
Well, that's one thing that's been exciting to see is Louisville's done it one way where they've had balance. They've been able to come up with some opportunities, but they've not been able to cash in the red zone. And you're right about West Virginia. It seems like every time we turn around and watch what they're doing, they're able to put points on the board in a hurry. But our coaching adjustment, as I said, is what else do you say other than, guys, just field the kickoffs? You know, why make it interesting? Why even think about fumbling? Raynon here is such a great player, trying to create, fumbles twice on one kickoff. Just get the ball back to number 5 and number 10. And the thing that I've been blown away with, Chris, is Louisville was determined to stop West Virginia from running the football. They've not been able to slow down that combination of Pat White and Steve Slaton.
Slaton, 108 of those rushing yards in the first half and a touchdown. Combined, they have 511 yards, and Brohm will have to hope his defense get the ball back. You can see that thumb taped up for the second half. That's new.
I just, Chris, want to reiterate to fans who've been watching this game, we've waited all year for it. We had a great first half. Don't forget what's at stake for these two teams. A chance to stay in the picture for the national championship. Still, both teams have that opportunity starting this second half.
It's Mark Zucconi kicking off, and Raynaud, will he make the adjustment, hold on to the football?
All right.
Doesn't get back to the 20, but doesn't fumble.
Held that ball.
Aaron, what do you got?
Chris, I spoke with Bobby Petrino on his way out from the locker room. I said, hey, what do you look for here in the second half? He says, it's easy. Well, since Louisville's on defense, we'll talk about that first. He said, how do we stop Pat White, Steve Slaton? All 11 guys need to get to the football, and we're not doing that. Now, for offense, he said, we simply need to score when we're in the red zone, for goodness sake.
Slaton slips a tackle. And now loses the football. It's scooped up. Touchdown, Louisville. Malik Jackson. We may have another review here, but this is the wackiest 3 minutes we've seen in a long time. A blackout and 3 turnovers in Louisville, pending a replay review potentially, has extended the lead.
It's a matter of whether or not his knee touches before the ball comes out. Ball's out. That's a fumble. Even if they take another look, that is a touchdown for the Cardinals.
It was Brandon Cox, the defensive end, the junior from Atlanta, who made just the first start of his career, the last game against Syracuse, who forced the fumble, and Malik Jackson, their playmaking linebacker, who scooped and scored, and it is being reviewed upstairs.
But you're right, last 2 touches, ball on the ground. This game's a long way from over. I'm looking forward to seeing Steve Slaton come back now.
Video confirms the call on the field. Touchdown stands.
So Malik Jackson, the touchdown stands, in Louisville will have a PAT try to make it a 9-point game. Big play for Jackson there. Is the blackout here, I'm talking about the light blackout, not the crowd wearing black, is that caused some of this goofiness in the players' minds? You don't
no, I don't think so.
4 plays and 3 turnovers?
Yeah, for a player, you don't even realize it. I mean, you maybe noticed it initially, but
I'm looking for explanations here, my friend.
It's just the fact that Steve Slaton has not held on to the football the last 2 times.
Yeah, but 4 plays, 3 turnovers.
We'll lay it on the lights.
There's a flag on the conversion.
I really, honestly, Chris, cannot wait to see how Steve Slaton responds. One of the best tailbacks in the country. He's fumbled the ball, put the ball down. Louisville now up 23-14. Can't wait to see now how he comes back and see what kind of heart he has. You know he's going to fight back, and before you know it, he might be going 40 or 50 yards downfield.
Try is good.
And not just Slaton, how Pat White and this entire West Virginia team responds on a crazy night here. Remember, they've only trailed for 2 minutes all season coming into this game. Now they find themselves down by 9, their biggest deficit in a long time. Back here in Louisville, I guess Halloween was this week, so we should expect, strange and eerie things. With the lights partially out here just after halftime, the smoke cleared. We've had 3 turnovers. Mountaineers got the football. Slaton coughed it up. Then Louisville gave it right back after the catch, the fumble by Jimmy Riley, and then Slaton, his very next carry, coughs it up again, and Malik Jackson scoops and scores. Cardinals 23-14. Go down to Aaron Andrews with more on the real blackout, not the crowd attire one.
Well, Chris, I had a chance to speak with the stadium operations down here on the field, and they told me they have no idea why these lights went off. They said right now they're going to cool off for a bit, and they should be back up in the next 5 minutes. Now, remember, guys, it was during the summer. Bobby Petrino told the marketing department, we want a blackout. We want a big game for this West Virginia game, guys.
And he got his wish. Darius Raynaud rocked at the 20. We can adjust our cameras to make this look much lighter than it appears to the naked eye. It is a significant loss of light on the field.
Let's see if Steve Slaton, I was watching during the break, Chris, and you're right about how dark it is here, but Steve Slaton having his left arm worked on. And he was wearing a sleeve like a lot of the other West Virginia players on his left arm. That was the arm where he was holding the football, and the ball came out. Now you can see they're working with it, trying to just kind of see if maybe he has a little bit of tingling or numbness. He's trying to get loose on the sideline right now before they put him back in the game.
He's out of the game, and Owen Schmidt, the big fullback, is to the left of White. First down at the 20. Biggest deficit this team has faced in more than a year. White dropped for a loss. Abe Brown, part of this deep defense. They just keep bringing in backups who can make plays. And let's go to the sidelines and check a look at the situation with Slaton is. Trainer looking at that left hand. Scott Kozlowski to punt. Short kick, flag down, taken by Trent Guy. Trent Guy turns the corner. Guy breaks a tackle, heads for the end zone, touchdown. We'll check the flag, which came immediately after the snap on the punt. Punt cover just 26 yards.
Legal formation. The offense. Number 49. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
Back-to-back non-offensive touchdowns for Louisville, and the Cardinals have blown this game open.
Huge mistake here by the punter. All of the coverage, Chris, went to the left. The punter, Kozlowski, punts the ball. I think it came off of his foot. It comes off of his foot. It's not only did he shank it, miss it, but he misses it to his right. Our camera's left. All the coverage is off to the right. He has one man to beat. He picks a block up downfield, and it's an easy score.
Carmody there to boot it through. There was nothing right about that punt play. They had the penalty on the snap. They only kicked it 26 yards. They kicked it the wrong way, and they didn't tackle the return. They talked about Louisville getting nothing in the return game all season long. That's the first real big play they've made on punt or kickoff returns. The Mountaineers look a little bit shell-shocked. Aaron, what's the latest on Pat White as we watch the kickoff here?
To the sideline. When Pat White came over to the sidelines, trainers instantly took off his left shoe. They were pressing down on the inside of his left foot. He looked like he was in a lot of pain, telling the trainer it hurt quite a bit. And then as Louisville scored that touchdown, one of the players came over and said, "You ready to go?" And he said, "Yeah, I am." They threw his shoe back on. He's back out there. Steve Slaton, by the way, still trying to shake off that hand. We're looking for any update, guys.
Wow, Aaron, I mean, what a start to this third quarter. It was West Virginia, which had momentum, and there was a flag on the kickoff return by Renaud.
Legal block below the waist for West Virginia. Number 19. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
It is Pat White under center. Slaton is still on the sidelines, and Jeremy Bruce, wide receiver, was in the backfield. Now motions to the slot, so no back. White, the basic play, takes it, runs it. Foot looks okay as he fights forward to 9. And now, Aaron, the concern is we still don't see Steve Slaton in there.
You're right, Chris. He is still on the sidelines. He's actually holding, it looks like a roll of pre-wrap in his left hand. He's grabbing it. I was just talking to West Virginia's trainer. They said he's having a strain problem. He's lost strength in that forearm. I asked if it happened on that fumble, and they said no, way before that play, guys. Rich Rodriguez keeps looking back at him, asking him if he's ready to go in, and he's not.
You're down 16 halfway through the third quarter, and you run the football. You're not a great passing team. Your big playability is number 10 along with 5. I don't know if 5 can carry the load. Pat White on his own.
We'll see if they begin to go to the air more. They will on first down. White fires over the middle. It's caught. It's Rashawn Bolden. Another first down. Quick zip of 13 yards. Bolden, the lightly used wide receiver, beginning to become more of a weapon in recent weeks.
And this throw gives you an indication that Pat White, when he has time, has a very strong arm. And I just think that because we have not seen Pat White throw the football enough this year, that people underestimate how strong his arm actually is.
The motion Bruce into the other slot, ran on to the right of White on 3rd and 6. Has time. Retreats. White has room to run on that sideline. Cuts back, 1st down. Dropped inside the 30. He retreated way back in his own end of the field and then gets back down inside the 30 for a 1st down.
I hope people are starting to watch Pat White and really have appreciation for what this kid can do for an offense. People want to knock him and say, well, they don't throw the ball enough. He can't show the ability to throw. They haven't had to throw the football. This is a team that averages 319 yards a game on the ground, and they also score 41 points a game.
They've now earned 6 first downs on this drive. So un-Mountaineer-like, slow and methodical, but a lot of urgency now. Inside 3.5 to play in this 3rd quarter. White trying to weave his way through the defense. Is finally hauled down. Caught from behind by Heyman, the defensive end. But he got inside the 10.
This is what a running quarterback can do. If you just look at how many linemen you have here and include the back, you have 6 guys to be able to block 6 guys. Typically, if you have a quarterback that can't move, you don't have that flexibility. Having an athletic quarterback makes the defense have to account for Pat White. That time, a good call to stay with the quarterback run and a big gain.
2nd and 1. White, 5 yards from a 100-yard game. Will he get it here? Yes. Owen Schmidt, the block. And what a drive by the Mountaineers. Then answer the courage question of Pat White.
Absolutely. To date, I will say that that's the biggest drive of the season for the West Virginia team. On the road, we just talked about they had fumbled twice, a lot of adversity, lost their star back in Steve Slaton, and give Rich Rodriguez a lot of credit. 14 plays, 92 yards, almost 7 minutes off the clock. Methodical, but Pat White carried his guys 92 yards into the end zone and a must score on that drive.
White digging deep. McAfee adds the point. The margin is 9. Brohm and the Cardinals get the ball back when you come back. Back in Louisville, the long march by the Mountaineers, and they continue to just look at Steve Slaton. And, you know, can he hold the ball in his left hand? He's got a right hand, though. Huh?
Yeah, I guess we don't know exactly what's wrong with him, but my gosh, if he's able to stand there and kind of go through some of the motions of holding onto a football and have somebody administer the knockout punch there, trying to knock the ball loose.
Look how many folks are standing around. You got a whole pocket here.
We got 12. 12 in blue trying to help Steve Slaton get back on the field. But it doesn't look real good based on the body language that we were watching during the break.
And an ugly-looking kickoff is not going to roll out of bounds. They field it at the 11. That was Jawan Spillman who could have let that thing roll out of bounds. They would have gained some yardage on field position in the penalty. So Louisville, only their 2nd possession of the 2nd half when you come back. Steve Slaton, still a group of folks looking at that left hand. But an important drive for Schmidt and the Mountaineers to close within 9. Now we'll see what Brohm and company can do. Only 2:07 to play in this 3rd quarter. They're going to throw over the middle, and Brohm has a man caught. Harry Douglas, who, as far as I know, Kirk, is not going by Ocho Cinco like your man Chad Johnson. He's just playing on 85 with the catch.
Well, he is 85 here, and he makes a play. It's about picking up not only on the linebackers, but also the safety. Play action freezes the linebackers, and a great seam in between the corner and the safety. Number 8, Quentin Andrews, a freshman, the young man that they have come after time and time again, and they've had a lot of success throwing the ball into the seams downfield.
A productive night for Douglas with 6 catches now. In the backfield, it's George Stripling. We see him for the first time tonight. He's the speedy back, the sophomore who was featured prominently early this season, but hasn't gotten in much tonight. Incomplete.
Well, I think it's because Colby Smith has come alive, and really Anthony Allen, as a freshman, I think has proven that he is ready to handle a lot of the work. Stripling's got a little bit lost in the shuffle, but is their best receiver out of the backfield.
See turnovers. Points off him. Each here. Brohm checks off, goes back into the shotgun as the Mountaineers show pressure, then back off, then bring the middle linebacker. It's complete over the middle once again. Jimmy Riley. Jimmy Riley atoning for that earlier fumble down inside the 15. The senior has waited his whole career to make impact plays. Had the fumble on his earlier catch, atones for it with a 40-yard gain. Good blocks by Colby Smith and Douglas there.
Well, Barnage, the tight end, does a good job of clearing. Once he clears, there are no linebackers in the area underneath. Nice job, good throw, and the thing, it gives Riley a chance to make a play, and the blocking downfield. Good hustle that time by Harry Douglas.
Up the middle, Colby Smith fights inside the 10, and you feel good for Jimmy Riley. I mean, bright lights, huge game. A senior has waited his whole life, makes a fumble, which could have been critical. Turned out to be no big deal because the Mountaineers fumbled it right back, but now gets a chance to make a positive play.
Yeah, in that play, even though he fumbled, it was a great catch in traffic. He just wasn't able to secure it. Ball came out, but that time, as you said, Chris, boy, showing it's pretty comfortable when he gets into the open field. He made a big play, and now again, Louisville down inside this red zone.
Three receivers, and they'll motion Smith out. Empty backfield on 2nd and 5. Brohm, quick drop, fires near side, complete. Not much there. Trying to get Riley perhaps a touchdown. That time, Eric Ricks was spying on him.
I think Bobby Petrino thinking, all right, I learned my lesson in the first half. I tried to rely on the big boys up front to try to pound it in when I got inside there, and it didn't work out. You can see the competitive spirit of Coach Petrino. We're going to head to the 4th, and he's trying to throw the ball into the end zone now. He wants 7 points on this drive.
West Virginia really needs to keep Louisville out of the end zone, keep them to 3, because with everything on the line for these two Big East unbeatens, we head to the final 15 minutes. The Cardinals looking for consecutive home win number 16, up by 9 and in close. Remember, last year's game was a classic in Morgantown. Mountaineers rallied as Pat White came in for the injured Adam Bednarik at quarterback. Slaton went crazy. They traded touchdowns in overtime. Finally, in triple overtime, Louisville, after watching the Mountaineers go up, had to go for 2. But Brohm was stopped. Biggest comeback in West Virginia history. 17 down in the final 10 minutes. Louisville's lived with the pain of that for a year. Now, once again, it's Louisville with the lead, up by 9 as we start the 4th quarter. A crucial 3rd and 2. Can the Mountaineers keep them out of the end zone, force another field goal attempt? Brohm will throw to the end zone. It is called for a touchdown by Arudia. So much for Smash Mouth. They throw it to the 6'6" sophomore, the hometown kid, Arudia, who beats Antonio Lewis.
You could tell when Arudia broke the huddle, he went to the near side. The ball was on the right hash. He gets the foot down. It's a touchdown. But what was amazing to me is that Antonio Lewis at 5'10" walked up on him at the line of scrimmage against a 6'6" receiver, making it very easy. Textbook fade to the corner for the 6'6" receiver and the touchdown.
So it's back to a 16-point lead in the first play of the 4th quarter.
And he didn't give him much of a cushion. He walks all the way up, basically saying, let me see if you can beat me. And Arudia says, I have a quarterback that's going to put it over my right shoulder for an easy touchdown.
Louisville answers the methodical march by West Virginia with their own 80-yard touchdown drive. And Aaron Andrews tells us that Slaton is set to go back in there when the Mountaineers get the football back. This is Raynaud on the fly at the 6. Has a crease. Darius Raynaud breaks the tackle of the kicker, but he slows him up enough for the pursuers to get him near midfield.
just had the kicker to beat for a touchdown and just couldn't quite get by him cleanly.
But that's exactly what they needed. I mean, it's exactly what West Virginia needed because they typically own the fourth quarter. And it's surprising to see those numbers because most of their starters are out against most teams once they get to the fourth quarter.
Right.
But they give up a score after the impressive 92-yard drive. They needed good field position. Raynaud delivers with the big return. And we'll see if Pat White still has the magic as Steve Slaton joins him now in the backfield, as EA said.
He is. He's to the left of White now. His last 2 carries have been fumbles, and it's been a long process of evaluating that left hand. See if he carries it in the right. It's a fake to him. White has him wide open, and he makes a nice catch. Keeps the ball in his right hand and is brought down by Gay at the 31. Well, right back in there, big impact play, but why has he been out this long?
Well, he's very tentative coming off of the fake. I think it's a great call because he's been out the entire game, the entire third quarter. So you could see the defense loses him, thinking he's a decoy, but Rich Rodriguez electing to go right to him. He holds the ball, Chris, you said it, into his right hand after the catch.
But he used both hands to catch it. Ball down to the 31. This time it's a handoff, and he's got the ball in his left hand that time. A quick burst. EA, I don't know. It was a long diagnosis, but it seems to be okay, that hand.
I don't know what to tell you besides the fact when Louisville scored that touchdown, Steve Slaton had the football in his hands on the sidelines. As soon as the touchdown was scored, he threw it down and screamed, "Let's go," went to Rodriguez and said, "I'm in."
He's in, and he's got the ball again, running left. Turns the corner. Slaton knifing to the defense down near the 10-yard line. Is he going to come off with an injured hand and try to lead a rally here?
I like to hear "I'm in." I mean, he's got a national championship implications in this game. I like to hear "let me in the game." Good blocks, but it's the speed to the outside. He outruns John Russell to the corner, turns the corner, and almost slips through to score a touchdown. What a different feel for this offense when he's in the lineup.
Yeah, makes the catch for 20 and now runs at 8 yards and 13 yards. Suddenly just 10 yards from the end zone. White keeps it. Finds a crease, is hauled down from behind by Michael Adams at the 5.
It just, when you have Slaton in, not only does his speed come into play, but it opens up things for Pat White. Even though Pat did a great job on that 92-yard drive, all of a sudden this offense is predicated upon blocking angles and seams in that defensive front to clear it for Pat White. And that time he was able to go back to his comfort zone with 10 in the game to be able to find one of those seams.
Raynaud in the slot. White with Schmidt out front. Muscles into the end zone. The Mountaineers have their answer to Louisville's touchdown. A drive sparked by Slaton. And the lead is at 10 with plenty of time.
What a difference. 5 plays, 51 yards, 2 minutes and 14 seconds after taking nearly 7 minutes on that last drive. The return by Raynaud, Darius Raynaud, putting the ball close to midfield was essential after giving up another touchdown to Louisville. Big play there by Raynaud, and it's nice to see Steve Slaton in to help this offense and how quickly these Mountaineers can score.
And now down by 10, they're going to go for 2 points to make it a one-score game. Schmidt to the left, Slaton to the right, Pat White.
10 Louisville defenders, some confusion.
The snap is fumbled, and the conversion fails. The ball is still loose on the ground. It could be picked up by the Cardinals, but now they just fall on it at the 15. So still a 10-point game. This crowd, though, you think this crowd is aware, remembers the comeback the Mountaineers made a year ago?
Yeah.
There's unease here again.
Well, the crowd had so much to do with that comeback last year, but Louisville got away with that. There were only 10 players on the field. They caught a break with the errant.
Yeah, and snap bails him out. Brohm gets the ball back up 10. Petrino concerned now because the defense can't generate things. That defense right there, which is getting a tongue lash, has to go back on the field and apparently contend with Steve Slaton, who's returned. It's a short kickoff. Jawan Spillman hesitates, gets across the 20. Spillman. This has been the best night of the season for the Louisville return game. They hadn't done much all season long. They have the Trent Guy punt return for the touchdown and a nice return from Spillman there. Once again, some defense is going to have to go out there and try to solve these offenses. We've got, what, more than 800 yards offense now combined.
Well, if West Virginia's going to win the game, they're going to have to get a stop. I mean, they're going to have to come up. Somebody on their defense is going to have to come up, not only with forcing the punt, possibility of even forcing a turnover to get the ball back to Steve Slaton now that he's on the field and Pat White. But it's been a lot easier to say that from up here than actually go out and execute against Brian Brohm. An offense that was struggling coming in has been in sync tonight.
They haven't been able to run the ball, so they'll throw on first down. Brohm over the middle, wide open is Arudia. And the big guy inside the 40. No sitting on the lead for Petrino. An aggressive call on first down.
These linebackers from West Virginia are biting so hard on the play-action fake. Colby Smith, a little fake. Look at the linebackers come up, and what a huge gaping hole between the linebackers in the secondary on the back end. Great job, well executed that time by Louisville, and another huge first down on 1st and 10. We talked about Brian Brohm and his thumb. He's had a look in his eye yesterday like he got a new toy with his thumb, and it's the best it's felt since the injury against Miami, and he's shown it tonight.
Colby Smith back in, gets the handoff after the pump fake, goes for the corner. Nice block by Arudia as Smith cuts it back inside and gets to the 5. 17 more yards.
Well, we just talked about West Virginia having to make a play on defense. 4 plays, 61 yards, mixing it up. This time, Colby Smith, the vision, I think, of Colby Smith, outstanding there to bounce it to the outside. And Chris Arudia, a tall, lanky receiver, showing that he's willing to block downfield and almost was able to spring Colby Smith into the end zone.
The freshman Allen back deep in the I formation, gets the handoff, steps to his right, powers to the end zone, standing up. Kind of a helpless look from Rich Rodriguez and those Mountaineer fans. 66 yards in 5 plays.
Right side of the offensive line. After all the problems, Bobby Petrino has confidence in them, and they blow the West Virginia defense back off the ball, paving the way for Allen into the end zone.
Art Carmody's on pace to break all the career scoring records in Louisville, and he's adding to that tonight. Another PAT. The lead is 17, biggest lead of the night for the Cardinals, 10:19 to play. This crowd's been taking on a ride tonight. We've had a little bit of everything. Power outage, which knocked some of the lights out for a while. Flurry of turnovers to begin this second half, and now Louisville aggressively marching down the field to score again. Brian Brohm in this half, 7 of 8 for 147 yards and a touchdown. And the Mountaineers seeing all their dreams of a perfect season. BCS championship game, a trip to the desert in January, in deep, deep trouble. As the defense unable to get that stop they needed. Raynon trying to provide a spark again with the return. Turns the corner and gets out across the 30-yard line. Here comes the blitz. White gets away. And will get out of bounds. Louisville leads the nation in sacks. They had 28 sacks from 14 different players. That's incredible. 14 different guys had sacks, but White's a tough guy to sack.
He is. That time Lamar Miles had him wrapped up, but he just could not bring him down. Pat White's known as a quick quarterback, but I thought he showed some power there by staying up. And you see all these different players. It's because they rotate so many different bodies in up front at the defensive line and linebacker spot, the way you see most defenses today trying to stay fresh.
Miles, the linebacker, has that 1 sack tonight. White fires wide open as Slaton on the sidelines, cuts back to the center of the field, and is chased down inside the 30. How in the world do you leave Slaton wide open? 44 yards.
Well, there's some confusion and a little bit of a cross move. And I think that the defense there, you have a freshman safety That time, Thomas, who got lulled to sleep, I think. Confusion in the secondary between Gay and Thomas. And how does he leave?
Wow.
The one big-time playmaker that West Virginia has, Steve Slaton, all alone down the sideline.
White fires across the middle. It's incomplete. He was trying to find Nate Sowers, the backup quarterback that they use as kind of a multi-threat. I keep an eye on number 10 if I were the Cardinals
Well,
right now.
that almost worked out well for Rich Rodriguez. I don't think they wanted that. They're lucky the ball wasn't completed. Either Sowers gets blown up, maybe fumbles, or the clock keeps moving. They've got to get the ball to downfield to either Reynaud, number 2, or Brandon Miles, number 7.
Reynaud's in the slot. Slaton is off the field. It's Schmidt next to White. He stays in as a blocker. White scampers and now fires downfield. Caught. Miles keeps his feet and gets down inside the 5. So they do turn up the tempo and create a 26-yard play.
It's happening fast. I mean, again, you can say what you want about this team. They don't have balance. They can't throw the ball, but they're showing right now that they have that ability to be explosive and get downfield in a hurry. He scrambles a lot of time to buy that. It's time to throw.
White stops short at the 2-yard line. A nice hit was Brandon Sharp, and the clock continues to tick. And call a timeout now. It's going to be, in all likelihood, too little too late for West Virginia. But they have shown with 210 passing yards, they're capable in that area.
Yeah,
and we're going to have a great scene next week. It'll be a lot of fun in Rutgers. The folks will be amped up to get a national showcase game for their team, which, by the way, destroyed the Navy team more than Notre Dame did. Just if you want to, I know compare scores is tricky, but Scarlet Knights, they also destroyed the Pittsburgh team.
Did you see those numbers? 999 yards of total offense.
I expected that. That's no big deal.
999.
See if we get over 1,000 on this play. White fakes it and scampers into the end zone. It's over 1,000, and the lead is trimmed to 11, and they'll go for 2. Now they won't bother at this point. The 4th rushing touchdown. I thought they could cut it, but now it wouldn't make any difference at this point. They're going to need some onside kicks and some more possessions. At least we got 1,000 yards of offense.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, next week. It's kind of a home game for you next week. It's a big time there at Rutgers.
Just drive from the city right down to New Jersey. Looking forward to it.
Have you ever been to the stadium?
I have. Not to see a game. I've been inside the stadium, but not to watch a game. No. Certainly this is a big landmark milestone win for this program, if they could finish it up.
Well, such anticipation for this game for both these teams, and not only what it means for the program and what it means for the conference, but we've talked all night about the BCS. The winner survives and continues to move on. But I've just been really impressed tonight with Louisville and their offense. For a team that came in limping offensively based on what they're accustomed to seeing, Brian Brohm has stepped up in a big way. We all question, how's his thumb going to hold up? He didn't look great against the University of Cincinnati when he came back from the injury. Didn't look great against Syracuse. Tonight, you could tell that his thumb felt better and he had his confidence back, and 354 yards. It's a pretty good night for Brian Brohm.
McAfee on the onside kick. It goes out of bounds. So Louisville will take over. Smith fights forward. Of course, there was the defensive touchdown. The scoop and score by Malik Jackson. Trent Guy had the short punt return for a touchdown. First time in 16 years. Not at a college game day. Reese Davis will fill in very well, and I get to hang out in town and watch $20 million in purses up for grabs at the Breeders' Cup.
Look forward to watching that. You sure you don't want to join me on the 6 a.m.er down to Houston?
I'm good. I'll be out there at the backside at 6 a.m. now watching the horses run.
Good.
Missed you this morning, by the way. We were supposed to rendezvous at the barns at Churchill, and it didn't happen. What happened? I thought you wanted to feed Bernard eating an apple.
I did. I wanted to feed him an apple.
Didn't work out for you.
I want to get in there. You're like, what'd you say? This in the petting zoo? He said these are finely tuned machines. They don't have time. I wanted to feed him an apple, maybe a candy cane. guys say he's the best horse since, what are they saying, Secretariat?
We'll see where Steve Slaton goes. The 2 fumbles that he had perhaps will severely damage his chances of being a Heisman finalist. Do you think? He did have the 2 fumbles. He had a big night, 156 yards rushing, but the 2 turnovers, which were huge in this game.
The turnovers were big. The injury taking him out, the loss by the team. Even though it's a year where the Heisman Trophy is after Troy Smith, it's wide open on who's going to get to New York City and who's going to be a finalist. This was a golden opportunity for him to take a hold of it and say, hey, I deserve to be there. And just wasn't able to take advantage of that opportunity tonight.
And he's still one of the most explosive offensive players in the country, and you can see the Louisville fans poised to make a run onto this field. The goalpost may be down before they get to him, but they're going to still have a party here at Papa John's. White fires into traffic, and it's dropped. Sowers there, the quarterback. Shifted out as a receiver to convert him to that position as their third-team quarterback. Talked about that game in Rutgers, Kirk. They haven't had many big games in the kind of New York, New Jersey area in terms of college football. Back in the 40s when Army was great, playing Notre Dame in Yankee Stadium, but not a lot of big games in the tri-state area in college football recently. That's going to be a big event in Rutgers a week from tonight.
Louisville's 10-point win tonight on national TV, I think, going to be impressive enough to see them move up ahead of Florida. They'll obviously go by West Virginia.
You vote him number 3?
I'll put them at number 3, definitely in the polls. I think they earned that tonight. Playing in a game of this magnitude, 2 top 5 teams. You can talk style points all you want. I think the thing that hurts them is the perception of the Big East. People need to get over that and realize that this is a much better conference than people expect if you watch it week in and week out. And they deserve to move up to 3, remaining unbeaten tonight.
I'll vote them 3 as well. Skeptics will say, well, they got outgained by 80 yards and survived this game on turnovers. And there is the sack they've been waiting all night for as they finally converge on White. And that'll be the final play of Louisville's biggest home game ever. And here comes the crowd from all 4 corners. They celebrate by stomping on the logo. Satisfying for Brian Brohm and a very frustrating night for Steve Slaton. Rich Rodriguez and the Mountaineers, the second longest win streak in the nation, is snapped at 14. But this party may go on for a while in the center of the field. We'll pick up the pieces for the Mountaineers, see what the next few weeks might hold for them. Talk about the big picture as Louisville wins it by 10.